Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think that the barbaric nature of this attack is any different in its nature than other attacks that have happened um, from different militant groups in the past. I think it's that it's all on video. It's all shown. I remember, if you try to look online of videos of the first Intifada or the second Intifada, there's not many videos and photos online. It was much more taboo for Israeli media to showcase the bodies, and it wasn't normal that every single person had a video camera. So you wouldn't see it. It was only very, very specific images that you would see that were quite gruesome. But in our day and age, I mean, I've been following relatively closely the war in Ukraine, and I mean, the videos come out every day. I mean, sometimes it's just 15, 20 soldiers dead like that, like in an instant, and it's just getting shot up. Like this gruesome reality of how easily life is taken. And this is one of the reasons that they filmed everything. They had GoPro cameras on. They had proper editing teams waiting in the back to put it into a video format to then put it out. Like this was a part of the psychological warfare, was making sure that everybody sees these videos. There was a report already of I think it was an Israeli guy who saw his father kidnapped in Gaza. That's how he knew that he was kidnapped. The psychological toll that this has. Every time I see a photo of a civilian or a soldier kidnapped, I'm looking at the faces to try to see if I recognize any of them. I have friends of mine who have been sent out to the reserves, and it's always that scary thing. Every time you open a video, are you going to see someone that you love? Um, which makes it even more painful than it already is. And I think that it's not that the barbaric nature of these type of individuals and attacks has changed. I mean, if you read their charter, it's quite obvious um, what they believe and what they'd like to do to Jews and Israelis. But now we have a first row seat to what that looks like. In the past, it was told by eyewitness accounts. I mean, if you just look at eyewitness accounts of the Fogel family or the Sabaro restaurant bombing or the bombing of the restaurant in Pesach where they blew up the restaurant, and you hear about these horrific stories, but there's a difference between hearing of a story and then looking at a video or a photo and actually seeing the carnage in front of your eyes and what that does to you as a person.
That's true.
Tal, real quick, I'm seeing on Twitter that a few minutes ago there was a huge barrage from Gaza towards central Israel.
Yeah, we had some explosions. We had a lot of explosions, so we ran to the shelter a few times. There was two of my friends. One friend, I'm not going to say exactly where, just for intelligence reasons, but one of my friends, one fell right down next to his house, and another one about 500 meters away. Thankfully, they're both okay, but I know that there's two critical casualties in Rishon LeZion from the rocket barrage.
Very sad. Do we have more updates on the situation? Is anybody getting information in terms of casualties?
It's officially raised to 200.
200 deaths.
Yeah, Israeli casualties. I think I'm seeing reports from the Palestinian side, but the only issue is it's hard to know whether or not it's the militants. Like, are they counting the militants that went into Israel or the civilians who have been killed in the airstrikes? But they said it's roughly around 200 and 1,600 injured, but it's hard to know at the moment. We have to wait a little bit longer to see exactly what those casualty numbers are.
Right, and somebody said that the majority of the people who are at this festival in the south are yet to be accounted for. Again, this is unconfirmed, but supposedly there were 3,000 people at this party, and only around 1,000 have been accounted for. So it's unclear what's going on with that. I still don't know if or how many friends I had there. Yeah, I did wake up to discover that two of my sister's friends, including their 3-year-old daughter and parents, were kidnapped last night or early this morning. So that's definitely weighing on me and on my family. And the history of kidnapped Israelis is not good. So I don't have such high hopes, unfortunately.
just in case there's any ambiguity, I wholly condemn these individuals, and I have no issue with Israel striking every single one of these individuals who participated in this attack today with the full force of the IDF. And sadly, that'll come at the expense of a lot of innocent people. And I wish that we had lasers where we could immediately just kill those who were involved in the attacks today on innocent people and kill them. And I have no issue saying that.
And in terms of civilians being killed, supposedly, Israel has this policy where before they drop a bomb on a building where they think there might be civilians, they give a warning. They give like a knock on the roof with, they drop like not a bomb, but they drop something on the roof to warn. So supposedly they're not going to be doing that anymore.
So there's
I don't
also
understand the strategic advantage to stopping that. It's unclear, but that seems to be a change in policy on the Israeli side.
Well, they don't. I think there's also a little bit of a misconception there about the knocking. So just people who don't know what the roof knocking policy is that there's this policy that before the IDF strikes a building in Gaza, they hit it with a lighter round of munition that doesn't do any damage, but it's very, very loud, and it warns the people inside that they're going to take down the building. And so that's why a lot of the times when the IDF strikes a building in Gaza, you actually have video footage of it because they know it's going to happen. Like the media tower of Al Jazeera a few years ago, so they knew it was going to get taken down, so no one was in there. This isn't always the case, though. I think it's important to realize that they're not always doing this. They only do this when they're specifically trying to take out the buildings themselves. Why are they doing this? Is this just due to psychological warfare? Is it a collective punishment, which would be a war crime? Is it other reasons? I don't know. Like that's up to the intelligence agencies that I don't have. If we got leaks from them that I could know, but I don't know what the reasoning behind those are. But the strikes, for example, I think last year in 2022, the strikes on the two apartment complexes that killed senior heads of, I think it was the Islamic Jihad, and 3 senior heads of the Islamic Jihad, but also killed their entire families. There was no roof knocking. That was an assassination of these Islamic militants. And so when there's specifically assassinations of militant targets, sometimes civilian. Those are when there are collateral damage and civilians are killed in the events.
Good to know. Thanks for that, Tal.